everybody, Section181 here. This is Vanilla Railroad for Beginners, Episode 2. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and hanging out with me. The last episode, we got the first little bit of automation set up. Excuse me. And we got our initial infrastructure set up. We have some iron mining, some coal mining, and some copper mining. We have electricity, and we have a little bit of research done as well, which reminds me, I should go ahead and keep that going. I know a lot of people set up an early little factory to produce research like by themselves, to automate the research in the beginning of the game. I probably should do that, but I like hand doing it because I'm going to move this really fast. It's not going to be here very long at all. And the biters are like nowhere nearby right now, so I don't have to really worry about them too much. I'll talk about that in just a moment. I don't have to worry about that too much, so I'm just not going to. I also need more of these. I'm sorry, what was this? Oh yeah, so I just handcraft these for a little while. I know that's a little irksome. It is for me as well, but it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and get my mining stuff set up. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. Let's go ahead and make a bunch of those. All of the stone. I'll need more of those momentarily. Also need some of... No, I don't need those right now. I got 10. Yeah, I actually do. At this point, honestly, you can kind of just create whatever you want because you'll need it all. But the order is somewhat important. I'm going to pre-clear some of this area here because I do finally need to come down here and worry a little bit about stone. And while I'm clearing the area, I can talk a little bit about design. I'm going to not use anybody else's blueprints for this game, which I guess is kind of obvious. I think most people would try to do that, but I'm going to try to, where possible, use my own original design when playing the game. Now, I'm not the best designer in the world, and I'm not the fastest designer in the world, so I have pre-designed a few blueprints that I'm going to be using to get me through kind of the early stuff without having to kind of flounder around on screen too long. If anybody is interested in me floundering around on screen and want to watch that process, maybe have me explain it as I go, whatever else, or what my kind of philosophy is as I'm doing it, then we can certainly do that. But the last thing you want to be is boring, so I went ahead and pre-did that. Having said that, my design philosophy is heavily inspired by a couple of YouTubers that I really respect, and should I make 2? 4? Let's do 4. Yeah, some YouTubers that I really respect and have taught me, by virtue of the video, has taught me a lot about the game. And so you'll definitely see some of their influence on my design if you follow them. Those people are Neilhouse, primarily. I love his video. He's a Danish YouTuber. Very active. I think he just recently stopped his full-time job to become a full-time YouTuber, so he's been producing a lot of content. I think he also streams on Twitch periodically. I haven't caught him too many times there, unfortunately, just because of my busy schedule. But anyway, his stuff is great. He's very focused on cleanliness and making the base look nice, and that is something I have definitely incorporated into my design too, or at least attempted to. So I really respect how clean and neat and organized his stuff is. So you'll definitely see that. Exterminator and Catherine of Sky, the latter of which, she's incredible. Her stuff, she does these massive bases with it's just intricate and beautiful and well thought out, and all the ratios are good and whatnot. So those guys are fantastic. So I'm definitely going to be seeing you're definitely going to be seeing a lot of that influence in my stuff. So hopefully that's flattering to those people. I'm going to drag the power down there to the stone, and then I will be done with that. While I'm here, I can drop off my automation. My science bag. Drag the power poles down. Run it right through the coal. Yes, and speaking of that, order and cleanliness and neatness and everything else. The early base is always somewhat ugly. I'm going to try to not make it such. I'm going to try to plan and design ahead of time so that everything looks like it should, or like it will eventually. But to some degree, there we go. To some degree, this stuff is just going to be unattractive. Oh yeah, lamps are not finished researching yet. Alright, so there we go. Stone is on its way up, and I've only had to walk in there twice. And it'll be right here next to my coal. So I don't have to worry about that for a while. Right, next. We got inserters working, we got some more minor things working. I should be able to scoop up some stone in a minute to create more furnaces. I'll need those. We'll need optics, but that is moments away. I do not need any of that for the time being. Belts. Always need more belts. At least in the early game when your base is almost exclusively belt driven. Yeah, belts. Need those. Need some copper too. Always need some copper. Yeah, the game has a very kind of interesting way of, like, the way it's set up. There are phases in the game where you need one resource over another, and then that'll kind of move around. For instance, in the early game, copper is just not that important, because the primary thing that you use copper for is conductivity. At least, you know, if they're pretending that it's like in real life. You use it for its conductivity because you use circuit boards. And there's only a few things that need circuit boards. I say a few, I'm sorry. Starting off, there's a few things that need circuit boards. Everything does later. And all of your electronics. So your inserters will need it one way or the other, either directly or indirectly. Your lamps will need it. Your science pack needs copper, but not circuit boards. Your assemblers need it. Your mining drills need it. So, yeah, a few things in the early game require copper. Late and, you know, as you go on, more and more things require copper or different resources. The point is, your resource demands change over time. So, I am out of power. These guys are out of coal. I am done after this moment anyway. There we go. I think I have fed the last machine. I am going to hand feed coal, at least for a while. Because now I can kind of automate this process. This is why I'm building all these belts. And I've got a couple drills. Let's go ahead and get this set up so I don't have to walk around anymore. I've got 9. Let's do 1, 2. Let's just do 3 to start. I want to save these for a little bit. My which columns? Drills. Stop it. There we go. So those are hooked up, but they are not getting power. So a minute ago, it was a yellow sign saying that they were not connected to a power network. And now it is a red little alert telling me that they are connected to a power network, but the power network is off. So, annoying as it is. Now, I like to, when I'm doing these paths, for my belts and so on, I like to, I lied a minute ago. That is the last copper. I'm about coal putting anything. I like to go from the source to the, from the end of the game, from the requirement to the source. That wasn't like a tip or anything. That was just me talking about how I like to do it. I feel like I line things up better that way. Whenever if I just try to blindly path something, I typically miss the mark. There we go. That's connected. Here comes our clean, beautiful coal right now. It's going to pump its way up here. It's going to run on these belts, which operate on magic. And it's going to come into here, where these little greedy bastards are going to pick them up and feed them into the thing, and I will have power, so long as I have coal. So there we go. I need... Alright, so let's get the smelting set up, working. And let's talk about placement. Let's think about where we're going to put all this stuff. Do I have my... Okay. So, I typically go left to right, top to bottom, when I'm designing my base. All my things kind of run like the lines of a book. The thing is that requires doesn't require, I guess, but that would encourage your resources to be to the left of you. So you can go from resources to smelting to factory, left to right. That's how I typically like to do it. This is not going to be the case here. I have cliffs over here, and there's a bunch of uncharted territory, and I don't want to go too far from my power source and from the water. So I'm not going to be doing that today. And it's actually going to mess with my OCD just a little bit. I'm not strictly OCD, if that matters to anybody, but it is going to mess with kind of the way I like to do things a little bit. So I'm going to probably start my factory right here. Now, the thing is, I'm trying not to rip everything up, but the initial factory that I set up is not going to be the factory that I end the game with, more than likely, especially because this is kind of a limited amount of space. But I think right here, looking at it, is the best place to at least get all of your early game stuff out of the way. And I might actually go right to left with it. It's going to be kind of annoying for, like I say, for me, or maybe top, my bottom top. I might have it kind of going, branching off like this. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll see momentarily. But the main reason here is because there's a good little bit of space up here, there's some space over here, and then all these annoying cliffs are over here. Now the cliffs, I can't get out of the way until I get cliff explosives, which is a pretty significant amount of time later. At least a handful of episodes in this series. Because you'll need sulfur and you'll need chemical plants and everything else. And these cliffs, if you don't know, are they're really well designed because it makes everything look two-tiered. Like there's actually a higher altitude right here than there is here, but strictly speaking, it's not. It's just a wall. Not to like show you how the sausage is made or anything, but it's just an impassable wall. Things like power lines work over them. That's perfectly fine. But underground things like or like on the like surface level things like belts do not, and pipes do not. So they become a nuisance in that regard. That was my point. So I'm going to try to avoid them until I can destroy them. So I'm going to build in this area. I think that is what I'm going to do. Again, to the chagrin of my own kind of personal preference on that. But that is what it is. All right, so I've got coal set up. Coal is working hard. Pumping over there. I'm going to get my smelting. I think I'm going to put it right here. I think I'll put all my smelting right here. It's a little crammed. I might have to do some here and some like here, and then pump it all out. And because the other concern that I have is that this, my little power station here, is going to expand this direction from left to right. So there's going to be a point where I'm going to be kind of trapped between how much throughput I can put over here and how much power I can put over here. Having said that, this is pretty compact and I have plenty of room, and I'm also going to be moving to solar somewhat quickly. Or at least that's my goal. So I don't think it should be too big an issue. The main benefit I have here is that with this power design, it's not going to go any further south than it already is. It's only going to go east to west. So I can start building pretty close. I can start building it right here-ish. And I won't have any problems, running into it. So long as I'm building my top one first. Hopefully all that made sense. Did I build all the things that I needed to build? 17 of those, 12 of those, 7 of those. Did I get my optics? No. Here we go. 10. Optics, more power poles. Okay. Looking good. Yep. I can get rid of you, and I can put you down there. This bar is actually not how I like it set up, but it'll be fine for now. I'm not the best at like spacing, figuring things out where spacing goes. I think that's correct. It is, okay. So then, there we go. There'd be a belt right there, and these guys over here, 2 spots down. That can go there. Yes. Okay. I like to get to the point where I can just kind of visually space things around. I'm not entirely there yet. Alright, I need 12 of these. I should have been counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was counting, I promise. Put that there, move these over. Alright. Well, let me build it and then I'll explain it. Are we as far left as I want to go? Yes, we are. And how much room does it give me to the right? Plenty. Plenty. I can even do steel. I won't have as much vertical. Yes, I will. I'll be doing half over here and half over here. That's how I'm going to be doing it, especially because I can put steel. Ooh, I can put steel like here. And that'll be, yeah, especially because there's enough room with stuff. Yeah, this is going to work out okay. It's going to be a little funny. It's not going to be the way I normally design things. I mean, you guys wouldn't know that, but it's not the way I normally do it. But, yeah, no, I think this is going to work out just fine. I should be more optimistic about everything. Just everything in the world. I'm just going to put on my rose-tinted glasses and pretend it's all okay. Let's do that, let's do that. I'm reminded of the scene from the Broadway Chicago. Talking about, what is her name? Sister Mary Sunshine? Sister Mary Sunshine? Probably alienating some of the gaming audience by talking about Chicago, but maybe not. It is one of my favorite musicals. No, let's put them on the outside. Let's do it like that. Let's see how this looks when they light up. Yeah, kind of nice and symmetric. And then I will need... I want to kind of make it as compact as possible. Whilst... Oh, I didn't build any of those. Shucks. Oh, because I can't. Oh my god, because I forgot to build the... I forgot to automate... Man, I'm really sorry, guys. This is annoying. Well, I'm gonna bugger off and do... Well, I'll still design it. Yeah, this is super annoying. I really apologize. I should have had that set up, and it wasn't. Well, I can explain it now that this is building. So the idea here is I'm going to split... Each one of these belts has 2 lanes, a right and a left lane, that items can travel around on. And these smelters, of course, require 2 things. They require fuel and ore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split. I'm going to use some splitters to put half a lane of coal and half a lane of ore on each one of these belts. So the outer belt here, this is just mirrored, so I can only talk about the top one here. It makes sense. This top belt is going to be feeding both of the inputs, the coal on one side and the ore on the other. These inserters will go back and forth, and they'll take whatever they need, whichever of the 2 they need, and it'll put it into the furnace. And then the furnace, of course, will output steel plates, which will be grabbed by this guy. The inserters, the way that they work, is when they're putting something down, they put it on the side of the belt furthest from them. So this top row of smelters will actually feed the bottom row, the bottom lane of this belt, and this bottom row of furnaces will supply the top lane of this belt. I'm sure that made sense, and I need no further explanation. Let's go feed these guys. Also, let's get some lighting. Now I've got some lighting set up, I can start illuminating this, because we all like to see. What is my lighting going to look like for this? I think I'm going to put it on the outside. I think that's going to be my philosophy for the whole game, is maybe like flanking. We'll do like a flanking type lighting situation. I know that doesn't matter. And I'm also going to separate one of these each, so I can probably put down just to... There we go, just to have it done. Is it attractive to have the whole thing go? I'm not doing anything right now, may as well. I've thought about this in the past too. I haven't done it before, but I actually thought about like lighting the whole... I mean, the thing is, my factory is so kind of dense anyway, that with the lighting just near the assemblers, the whole factory kind of like, by extension, becomes well lit. But I have thought about actually like lighting, you know, like street lights, just lighting the entire thing. I'm sure other people do that. I'm sure that's not a novel idea, but I haven't done it, and so I might consider doing that. There we go. Splitters. Let's build some. 5 of those. 5 of those. Hook it up. I'm going to need some more coal. Well, no. More imperative than that is getting the iron. Since this is the thing I'm going to automate first, I might as well set that up. I can go ahead and rip all this up. I also need to think about... Well, let me do this. Let me copy. Oh, this is fantastic. They added this in this version of the game. If you're just now playing, then I guess you will have always grown up with this, but they added in this little bar down here with this like copy paste and stuff, and that's fantastic. So I can fit realistically I can fit 4 because I'm going to need a mini room. So I mean, I guess I could leave it. I'll just leave it. I was gonna wait until I blueprint the whole thing. I probably will and just paste it over the top. I think I could do that. Yeah. Okay, so my splitters are done. All right. So let's finish building this now. Yeah. There and there and there. Well, hello. A runaway train there. Soul Asylum, happy. Alright, let's put that there. And I'm gonna feed with a space in between. I think it's gonna be my setup here. Yep, that's what I like. That is how I like it. Okay, so let's do that. And I will also feed in, it doesn't really matter, but I like to keep things consistent. I think I'm going to opt to feed coal on the top and ore on the bottom. Now, yes. Oh, well, I'll need more. Of course I'll need more. Always more. Always more. That's a lot of ore. I can go ahead and dump all the ore in. I can dump all the coal in, clogging up my inventory. Oh yeah, that's much better. I can go ahead and line up a bunch of those, get some of that wood out of the way. I don't have enough for another furnace. Okay, cool. Alright, and I have some of my drills set up, so I can go ahead and pop those down. So, did I mention blueprints already? I think I talked about blueprints. I did. I talked about blueprints already. I'm going to only be using this one, which is my original plans book. This one, I'm not going to lie to anybody, this one did come directly from their house, but it's the way I was going to design it anyway. It's the way I typically do it. I'm going to... Not tricky. Something like that. That's kind of funny. This doesn't tile up exactly right. I mean, tiles up like that. Yeah. I mean, I'll just build the rest of it. I'm sorry, I was in my own little space there, just thinking about something else. Yeah, I think that's just going to be the way I'll do it. I'll just build it and expand it myself. There you go, there. I can tighten him up. There, there. I think in this version of the game, they've also given your player a little bit more reach. And that's nice. That's something that's interesting about this game too. Sandboxy games typically have kind of like an omniscient perspective. And I do think that it adds an interesting element to the game to actually have this character and have to walk and run around. I mean, I know, I guess you're probably going to say, yeah, well, that's how it is in like games like Minecraft and more recently games like Satisfactory. But in my experience, I used to playing sandbox games where you're just kind of this like omniscient, person. Right, so keeping in mind that we're going to have factories here, I guess it's probably best that I route everything down and around. Yeah, this is going to be a little interesting. Also, I don't want to get too close to this iron patch because there's going to be stuff here. So let me just think. Man, should I run it under the bottom? This is like the least important. I think most people just like probably couldn't care less about any of this. I'm going to run it exactly like that for now, and then I'll just move it later. I'm going to need a lot more belts. I need a lot more belts. Yeah, just for now. Just for now, I'm going to do exactly that. Just because it doesn't matter, and because you can always change it. Yeah, I know this is like a long way to go for something that I could just set up right next to the ore thing, but I try to stay a step ahead. How far down am I going? Like, instead of building something temporary and then immediately changing it, I'd rather build something slightly, less temporary and change it just a little while later. Yeah. There we go. You see it kicking in there, I'm sure. Alright, let's put this guy. Also, we're kind of running out of time. I got 25 minutes. I want to keep these between 20 and 30 minutes. I don't, it's about the right amount of time. So it's a time of a TV show. So, there we go. And I think I'm 2 spaces away up there, right? I don't remember. Yeah, 1 full gap in between. There we go. Plug. Alright, what did I say we were going to do this episode? I said we were going to get our mining set up. We were going to kind of pre-plan things, and that is exactly what I have done. I didn't power this guy up. I will do that now. And I think this actually lines up. Does this line up? Oh, merciful God. No, it doesn't. Well, whatever. Alright, there we go. We should watch it. I'll talk a little bit while we watch it go in, because it's less satisfying to just end it like that. Alright, so I have a drill situation set up here, right? We have 2 rows of drills. Each of them are pumping into onto the belt, and are doing it in this nice, satisfying, kind of synchronized pattern here. Beautiful. That's all powered. That coal is going to, the iron ore is going to run all the way around here underneath the bottom, and it's going to feed up into the smelting situation, which I have described earlier. You can see we're already getting a little bit of work done because we have the coal only on the outside of the belt. So all of this gap here is going to be filled in by that iron. And you can see I've already produced a little bit of iron because I fed the machines by hand. Fantastic. So, and we already have kind of a nice little organized box type situation set up here. I know I'm still handcrafting a lot of stuff, like my science packs. That's probably pretty irksome to some people, but trust me. Let's say in the next episode I'll get that set up. No, that's a lie. In the next episode, I'm going to smelt. I'm probably going to put another smelting situation here, and then a copper situation over here, and then I'll feed those up, and it'll be kind of the beginning of our I guess it'll be our main bus, but it'll be kind of a temporary main bus. And then I will start building my sundries factory. I make a sundries factory where I can, or kind of a starter mall, where I can get things that I don't have to handcraft anymore as much of. So I don't have to handcraft as many things. So this is the beginning of it. This is looking pretty good by me. I know you guys are flashing in here. That's annoying, but whatever. And here we are. There it is. Marching like little ants up to the smelting column. Episode ran a little bit long, and I apologize for that. Unless, of course, you like it, in which case I don't apologize. You're welcome. Yes, my coffee has gone cold. I try to play with a cup of coffee nearby. A lot of the British YouTubers that I watch are always going on about having a cup of tea. I mean, it's like all the time talking about having a cup of tea. And, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I love hot tea too. But I feel like, well, I guess if they're going to go on talking about tea all the time, I should go on talking about coffee. So yes, I have my cup of coffee here with me. There we are. There we get to see it. Enough stalling. Iron goes in. The machines are hard at work, and they are pumping iron. They are pumping iron out very efficiently. One last thing, because I just now thought of it. This is producing a lot of pollution. And this is going to produce even more pollution. And my pollution is already spreading out beyond my field of view. This is a problem. I want to make it a habit to make sure that I can see into the future. I can see what's coming. And since we have some pollution here that is touching a black area here, I don't like that because I don't know that there's not a camp right here ready to come attack. And if you haven't noticed, I haven't set up any kind of defenses or even thought about defenses apart from building myself a little bit of armor and some ammo. So the next episode will be focused on expanding the smelting columns, and it will be a little bit of pre-clearing with the biters and setting up the beginning of the mall. That's what you have to look forward to. Thank you guys so much for checking it out. Coming, hanging out with me. Yeah, please write in. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Give me any comments or suggestions you may have. And if you have any questions about the game, I'd love to answer them. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Later.